right now. Today is the day that you choose to change the rest of your life. It is time to turn your setback into the greatest comeback story ever told, and nobody is more capable than you. Friday! This is the Ranting Weight Watcher podcast, the future #1 weight loss podcast in the world. I am your host, Donato Russo. I hope you enjoy the show today. If this is your first time here and you enjoy the show, please subscribe and spread the word of the Ranting Weight Watcher podcast wherever you are and to whomever will listen. If you'd like to connect on social media or wherever else, check out my Linktree page, Linktree/the Ranting Weight Watcher. Let's connect today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 185 of the Ranting Weight Watcher podcast. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you to the show. If you enjoy it, please consider subscribing. If the app that you're using to listen to the show allows you to leave a star rating or a review about the show, please consider leaving a 4-star or 5-star rating. Please consider writing a review about the show. What happens when you do this is if someone else using the same app as you is looking for a weight loss related podcast, it causes the Ranting Weight Watcher show up just a little higher on that list, enabling more eyes to be able to see and help podcast growth. One of the best things you could do to help this podcast is anybody in your life who is going through the same stuff you're going through, trying to become healthy, trying to do the right thing to have some longevity and to be able to live life. If you think anything that I say would help them, then tell them about the show. Show them how you get to it. Tell them the app you're using. Help them find it. Anything you can do to spread the word about the Ranting Weight Watcher is the best thing you can do to grow the podcast. I want to give a special thanks to everyone who is financially supporting the podcast. Thank you so much for all you contribute. Your investment in this podcast means the world to me. If becoming an investor of this podcast is something you're interested in, the description of every single episode, there is a Linktree link that will bring you to the page where you'll see a button, Become a Supporter, and you can click on that button and you can choose how you'd like to support the podcast from there. I have so much to talk about today. Let's get into this!
Journey updates.
I am up this week 0.8 pounds. So that's 2 weeks in a row that I'm up. Total weight gain being 1 pound over the past 2 weeks. Total loss since January 2019 is 182 pounds. I could definitely foresee an issue that I need to get a better grasp on predicting how many calories on the nights, particularly where I eat steak, I get thrown off because I don't know the actual calories of the steak until after it's cooked. So I kind of get thrown off on those nights, but I'll have to figure out a system maybe based on previous nights and try to get a guesstimate in that sense. If I assume that every steak is going to be around the same size, depending on if I go based on averages, but they are throwing me off. I am going over on calories of where I want to be on the nights that I have steak. So I have to figure out a way to lower the calories either in the beginning of the day or be a better predictor of what the calories of the steak are going to be after that. So we'll see how that works out. If you take all 180 plus episodes of the Ranting Weight Watcher, I don't know if you've actually listened to them all, but if you have, take them all and you could see easily that there are common themes. For instance, last week I spoke to you about getting back to basics. This isn't the first time I mentioned getting back to basics. I mentioned getting back to basics here in regards to dealing with the fear that people have of gaining all of the weight back. There are numerous times where I talked about getting back to basics, getting back to fundamentals. Because the fundamentals matter. And what are the fundamentals? The fundamentals are essentially the core values of the plan of your choice. And since the majority of you listen are on Weight Watchers, we'll go with the Weight Watchers core values. Now, in order to achieve success, they tell you that people who track their food tend to be more successful. So the first core value is going to be tracking your food. Another thing they tell you is people who weigh and measure their food tend to be more successful. So, what does that mean? Weighing and measuring your food, also a core value. They also tell you that people who move or stay active tend to be successful. And finally, they tell you that people who get a good night's rest tend to be more successful. And when I look around at the general population, there is a huge majority of people who see these and they decide what they are willing to do. They don't take them as gospel. You know, it's like seeing when you drive on the road, if the line in between the lanes is dotted, it means you can use it as a guideline, right? You can go around other people, you do whatever you want. Whether it's a white dotted line or even a yellow dotted line, you can go around the person in front of you if you need to. But the double steady line, that's rigid. Don't you dare cross that line, because you're going to get a ticket if you're caught. The company that created the core values sees it as a double line. Whereas the people who pay to be a part of the program, they see it as a dotted line. And they believe that they know better and these things aren't necessarily necessary. I'll do what I feel is necessary. And then they do whatever they want. And when things don't go their way, they blame the system that they only decide to do part of. They never actually see that they didn't do the system. So either you're doing it or you're not, right? There's no middle ground. Because if you're not following the rules because you're doing 9 instead of 10, you're not following the rules. It doesn't matter that you followed 90% of them. It matters that you didn't follow 100% of them. I'm not even talking about the accuracy of following them. I'm just talking about skipping them out completely. There is very little desire to blame ourselves in these scenarios. So we allow ourselves to believe delusions and blame a system that has existed for, I don't know, how many years. And it's not really until you get to the end of your own bullshit and really start applying the core values to your life that real lasting change happens. When you decide, that's it, I come to the end of all of my own excuses. For a lot of people, this happens because of some occurrence, because of something. I mean, I've said it a number of times. For me, it happened because essentially the first number of my weight started with a 4 for the second time in my life at 41 years old. Having gone through the process of having my own body mutilated for the sake of a result, I gave it all away and created essentially the exact same problem 15 years after I thought I fixed it. This is what I'm talking about. That moment, that realization became the fuel that sparked the fire that is who I am right now. But what if you could create that scenario without having some catastrophic moment? I don't know. Is it even possible, really? What am I really thinking of here? Is it even possible to have that kind of mental capacity to hit rock bottom without hitting it? It's probably not. It's probably not possible at all. And that's why it's called hitting rock bottom. Because you have to come to the end of yourself before you're disgusted enough to move forward in the pursuit of the real way to do it. Not your modified way, but the way. But it got me thinking. In the 180 episodes, are there core values of being a part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community? And I'm talking about core values in addition to the 4 that I just established. So I thought about it. I thought about not just my episodes of podcast here. I thought about all of my walk videos, everything that I've ever created. If there was something that applied to be a core value of being part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community, what would it be? I made a list here of the core values that I see that have come up numerous times since I started all of this stuff. The first on that list is the checklist. The checklist is the list of things you have to get done every day in order to achieve the goal you say you have. Now, for everyone, that list is different. And I had said before that, but we all have common ones, right? And those common ones have a lot to do with the core values of the plan that I just discussed. Tracking, weighing and measuring, moving, getting a good night's sleep. You know that you have those 4 things at minimum to do every single day in order to inch closer to what your goal is on a daily basis. The problem is we all come to these moments that we don't feel like doing it. And we were given plenty of excuses in life of reasons why we should not have to do something. There are so many times where, if you had 10 people in the room with you at the time, 9 of them would say, hey, look, I understand if you don't do this. The thing with the checklist is it needs to be done no matter what. That's the truth. In reality, you have to do what you know needs to be done, not do what you feel needs to be done. And let's say your list is longer than the 4. As long as those 4 are done, you probably have done the minimum of your checklist for the day. You have met your health journey requirements by doing those things. Problem is, you just need to do it every day, and you need to do it regardless of how you feel. And the reason for that is no one can do it for you. Essentially, whenever you're putting that off and you feel like you shouldn't have to, and you decide not to, you're only putting off literally everything you said was important to you. When you declared that you would be a part of this community because you wanted to become healthy, then you put it all on hold. You're essentially saying, now, because of what this is happening in my life, it's no longer important for me to live a healthy life anymore. And God only knows how long this period lasts. But during that period, old habits return pretty quickly. And going back to who you used to be happens as if you never even started the healthy lifestyle. Returns like an old friend. We're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. I now present to you the Ranting Weight Watcher Accountability Creed. If you choose this day to say this creed, you are accountable to me, the author. You are also accountable to all of those before you who have taken the creed, and all of those after you who will take the creed. But most of all, you are accountable to yourself. Now recite with me the Accountability Creed. Nothing can stand in my way because I choose to be unstoppable. My challenges crumble in my presence because I choose strength when I am weak. My insecurities have no power over my life because I choose confidence in the face of fear. I own every last one of my mistakes because I choose growth over mediocrity. The mirror and the scale are powerless because I move forward in spite of the result. Circumstances are not obstacles because I see solutions instead of problems. The demons of my past can no longer torment me because I choose to renew my mind daily. All things are possible as long as I believe, because if God is for me, who can be against me? This is the creed I declare each day. It is about what I do, not what I say. I will learn the work that needs to be done. I will never stop, even when I've won. I will work consistently, no matter the cost. I refuse to believe that all hope is lost. I will work when I want to. I will work when I don't. I will work when they are cheering.
I will work when they won't. I will work when it's easy. I will work when it's hard. The atonements that I've made are made with no regard. I will work when it's cold. I will work when it's hot, because choices have consequences, justified or not. When I think I know it all, I will start back at one, because regardless of what I think, the work is never done. And from this moment forward, when times are tough, I choose to believe that I am enough.
And we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. The second core value of being part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community is consistency is more important than perfection. Throughout the years that the Ranting Weight Watcher has existed, and throughout the years that the walk videos have existed, this is certainly a common theme. And so, because it's so common, you can say that it is the second core value. What does consistency look like? Consistency looks like your morning routine. Every day you wake up, your first thing you do when you wake up is probably go to the bathroom. What you do after that is probably repeated literally every day of your life. Whether that's making your bed, brushing your teeth, combing your hair. I would even bet that the exact order in which you do it happens every day. Without fail, it just happens. You know, I've never seen a post on any social media whatsoever where anyone says, I just don't feel motivated to brush my teeth today. Why do you think that is? Because brushing your teeth is not something you need motivation for. It's just something you do. That's what consistency looks like. And if you applied that same theology to the 4 core values of the WW program, you would find success. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It would not be if you would find success. It would be when you found success. That would be the question. But it's funny because there are numerous times where I can scroll through social media and see a post like, I just don't feel motivated to track. I just don't feel motivated to get on the treadmill. I just don't feel motivated to do anything I need to do to become healthy. Again, do what you know, not what you feel, right? But consistency is doing it regardless. That's what it looks like. It looks like brushing your teeth. It looks like combing your hair. It looks like taking a shower. It looks like getting dressed, putting makeup on, making your bed. Whatever you do every morning, your entire routine, from the minute the alarm clock goes off to the minute you put your head back on the bed, whatever you do every single day, that's what consistency looks like. And that is what the core values of the WW program should look like if you are consistent in those core values. I tell you that if you do these things 97% of the time, the other 3% won't matter. So essentially what I'm telling you is what you do 97% of the time is going to dictate your results, not what you do 3% of the time. So if you consistently, 97% of the time, do not track, your results will come based on that. What does 97% of tracking look like? It looks like if there are 3 meals in a day, 7 days in a week, you tracked 19 meals of the 21. You weighed and measured 19 of the 21 meals. That's what consistency looks like. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be 100%. It has to be 97%. And you do this knowing that what you do 97% of the time is going to truly dictate the results you create. And if you don't like the results you create, it's because of what you're doing 97% of the time. It's not because of the system. It's not because of the people you're surrounded by. It's not because of the situation in your home. It's because of what you do 97% of the time. The third core value of being a part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community is that the only guarantee you will ever receive is the guarantee of having the opportunity to do what's required. There is zero guarantees of achieving the result you're looking for. There is only the guarantee of the opportunity to do the work in order to have the hope to achieve the result. If I tell the world my goal is to win the lottery, what is the work involved in winning the lottery? A bunch of you are laughing like, what do you mean? There is no work involved. It's all luck. That's bullshit. There's plenty of work. The work is, how could I win the lottery if I don't get in my car, drive to a place, hand the guy money, either pick my numbers or tell him to give me a quick pick, and keep the ticket in a safe place? Because if I lose the ticket, did I win the lottery? No. If I don't drive to the place, did I win the lottery? No. If I don't pay for the ticket, do I have a chance to win it? No. That's the opportunities I have to take advantage of in order to have a chance to achieve the result of winning the lottery. If I don't do those things, I don't have a chance. I literally have zero chance, and it doesn't matter what I say to the world. If I never go to the 7-Eleven or whatever store and buy a lotto ticket, I will never have the chance. That's what it means. You are guaranteed the opportunities. You are not guaranteed the result. The fourth core value of being part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community is figure out what you don't know. And once you figure it out, make it your mission to learn everything you could possibly learn about that. You know, nobody knows more about cancer than a person who's just been diagnosed with it. A cancer patient will forget more about cancer than a doctor will ever know. Now you're looking at me like I'm crazy. How could that be? Because a doctor goes through his training, and once he gets that piece of paper, he's done. But you, who received the diagnosis, become obsessed with knowing everything you could possibly know. Because what are you trying to do at that point? Your why has changed. All you want to do is survive. It's like handing a glass of water to a drowning man or to a man in a desert dehydrated. Who's going to value the water more? So you receive that cancer diagnosis, and immediately your entire world changes. And everything you're obsessed with at that point is finding out as much as you can find. And if you're thinking that the person standing in front of you in that office knows everything you need to know, then you're choosing not to know. Because nobody knows everything. Nobody. So if you could find something you don't know about nutrition, and you could apply that theology, like you are the cancer patient who just received the diagnosis, and you could become obsessed with learning everything you didn't know about nutrition, you would forget more about nutrition than the overwhelming majority of the people that have anything to say about it would ever know. Because you didn't just stop with this one person, you went to 3 or 4 or 5 other people to find out what they know. And then you find 6 or 7 other people to find out what they know. If you become as obsessed as a cancer patient about nutrition, you will accomplish this. The 5th core value of being a part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community is to treat every meal like this meal. If you successfully execute this meal, your life would transform. Your whole life would transform simply by successfully executing the meal you're on. And I mean, regardless of what happened before it. Let's say you binge ate at breakfast. That means your approach to lunch is to execute lunch successfully, because that meal could be the meal that transforms your life. Treat every meal like it's the meal that is going to transform your life every time. The 6th core value of being part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community is you can't walk backwards into the future. Who you were, what you did, and where you have been only matter to learn the lesson needed in order to continue on your journey. The fact that you did something that you binge ate the other night only matters if you plan to learn from the moment. Other than that, it doesn't matter whatsoever. What you do going forward is all that matters. Even in regards to success, it doesn't matter. Who you used to be, what you used to do, doesn't matter if it's all gone. In 2005, I've told you, I was down 183 pounds in 1 year. Did that stop me from essentially gaining almost all of it back over the next 15 years? No, it didn't matter anymore. On January 4th, 2019, my 41st birthday, none of that accomplishment mattered anymore, because it wouldn't help to fix what I created all over again. So you can't walk backwards into the future. All you can do is learn and move forward. The final core value of being part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community, if you can become as obsessed with the process as you are with the result, your whole life would transform. I'll say that again. If you can become as obsessed with the process as you are with the result, your whole life would transform. So many of us have our minds on the goal all the time. Our mind is, I want to be this weight by this time because I want to go to this event. Meanwhile, you take no consideration onto the amount of time it took to create your problem. You just have some unrealistic goal of achieving a result by that period of time. And you still have the nerve to say, I'm not willing to do X, Y, and Z in the process. I wonder, do any of you know how the Grand Canyon was created? Basically, water running over a bunch of rock over God knows how many years. Slowly but surely, chipped away, decayed rock. Water, decayed rock over God knows how many years. And created a cavity 4,000 feet deep over all of those years. If you could think about and picture the Grand Canyon, would you say if it was water's goal to create it, would you say it was successful? If it was water's goal to create the Grand Canyon, would you look at the Grand Canyon and say that water was successful in that achievement and achieved its goal? In reality, I mean, scientists can converse with each other what they think, how many years it was. I don't really care. Because unless somebody was there when it started, no one really knows. Life isn't just a bunch of algorithms and mathematical equations. But would you say the water was successful in creating the Grand Canyon? It didn't matter how much work was needed. It didn't matter the end result. All it was the constant flow over years and years and years of persistent flow. And the Grand Canyon was created. If that theology would apply to your journey, the overwhelming majority of you would be successful beyond your wildest dreams. Become obsessed with the process the same way you are obsessed right now with the end result. That is the 7 core values of being part of the Ranting Weight Watcher community. Week after week after week, I sit at this microphone and I try to break your mindset of a concept that the overwhelming majority of you believe to be so complex. You guys love to believe that the solutions to your problems can't be simple. That my life is, you don't understand what's happening with me, Don. You just don't get it. What it's like to be me. You want to believe that somehow you are different than the trillions of other people that live on the globe. That there aren't probably millions of people in the exact same situation, having experienced the exact same things as you. You like to believe you are one of a kind. And it cannot be what I say, because what I say is so simplistic. But it is that simple. What I say is simple in theory only. Execution is only achieved in reality by 2%. The goal of this podcast always has been and always will be that you would come out of the 98% and become part of the 2%. And the first thing you need to realize is you aren't unique in that scenario. The simple answer is the best answer, but you have to understand it is extremely difficult to do. And as long as you are obsessed with the process as you are with achieving the result, your transformation of your life can begin right now. Right now. And all you have to do is apply the theories and apply them consistently, whether you like it or not, whether you feel like it or not. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.